with the radar solar speed limit. I mean, I haven't seen it in applied yet. And also the street light. Is that part of the survey that they're gonna do, or is that gonna be later on, or is that gonna be part of the city improvement that they're gonna try to fix?
Your most recent question, it would not have any impact on the traffic signal in Fresno. We'll have to rely, our law enforcement officials are going to be providing Caltrans officials with data, that accident data along that corridor, Fresno Avenue specifically, and they've agreed to make an assessment based on the data that we provide them. And so the survey is just going to be to document the existing conditions out there, which will enable us to, so we know how high the building pads are, how wide the streets are currently, and that'll enable us to design a street project that drains efficiently, and it ultimately tell us what right-of-way needs we have to widen the street for city standards. So the topographic study is really, driving everything with the exception of the traffic signal.
Okay, so the city has already turned in the assessment to Caltrans as far as the street lamp and all that, right?
We've go ahead.
Yeah, I think that you're talking about the signal, not street lights, but the traffic signal in Fresno.
Right, I'm sorry, yes.
So we had a meeting with several Caltrans officials today, and so they were well aware of our concerns, and they have asked us to provide some traffic data. They're going to be performing some of their own traffic data, not just vehicular, but also pedestrian and bicycle.
Right.
We're also simultaneously processing the encroachment permits. There's an encroachment permit required for the sign, the speed sign replacement, and also another one for the work to be done along the shoulder, prepare it for next year's rainy season.
Right.
So they're aware of those requests, they're processing those requests, but those two batches of work are kind of disconnected. They need a process to analyze the safety issues, look at the speed considerations, and the data they need to collect. Some of it we can get now, some of it, for instance, the pedestrian and bicycle data won't make a lot of sense now with school out, so they want school to be in session. Unfortunately, that requires waiting until to collect accurate pedestrian data. So we have some of that. They're looking at it, and we're definitely talking to them. But you should see the speed sign go up relatively soon. That's in hand. We're waiting for the final permission from them.
Right, that was one of my concerns when they were gonna be doing these surveys and assessments, because like you said, school is out, there's not a lot of movement there, but when school's in and the fog comes in, it's
Right.
really scary in that area. But I appreciate you helping us improve this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, council? None? Okay. Thank you.
Make a recommendation, council find that action is not subject to CEQA and approve the request proposal RFP for surveying services for North Park Shafter as prepared by staff and authorize the release of the said RFP.
Second.
We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez and second by Councilmember Stevens.
Councilmember Givens?
Aye.
Lopez?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Powell? Yes. And Alvarado?
Yes. Moving on to number 7, City Council ad hoc committee.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council. As a follow-on to that previous discussion, at the last meeting, Mayor Alvarado requested that staff add an item to create the North Park, North Shafter Improvements Ad Hoc Committee, and also to assign 2 council members to be available on that committee for any meetings with the residents out there or project status sorts of meetings as we proceed with this work. So tonight, we'd ask that the council create the committee and ask for 2 members to.
I just have some clarification on that. We had talked about, Councilmember Proud had mentioned that maybe as a group we would go out there.
So there'll be
Here's
two
what we
types.
left it last time.
There will be 2 types of meetings going forward. Some will be staff level working meetings, and this is where I anticipating that the ad hoc committee would be useful. Others will be public meetings, perhaps held at the Vets Hall, that would be a larger in scale, similar to the meeting last night, where it would be appropriate and allowed for the entire council to attend for the discussion, or just to see the feedback from the public on that single topic. So as far as the protocol during those meetings, we can get that lined out with the help of the city attorney to give guidelines to the council on how those meetings will work, but two distinct kinds.
Yeah, it seems a little premature to have a committee at this point, because we need to get this survey done first, and I think it's good if all of us are included at the same time, so that we all are on board. Just like we have water reports, you know, we can have it regularly scheduled on the agenda.
We can, absolutely, staff is happy to report out to the council whenever we have a meeting with the residents or with the vendors that we're working with on the study. So there may not be a need to assign an ad hoc committee, but if we wanted to have one, it's a 2-week process to get one defined and populated.
Would you see something like this come out real soon, or something maybe?
I really don't. I think we're gonna have a period of time now where we're waiting for the RFPs to come back, make our selection, move forward, then the data collection will actually begin. So there could be quite a delay until the next significant meeting on this topic.
I'm good with just keeping it on a management report every couple of weeks, especially because you're dealing with Caltrans.
Sure.
Nothing's gonna happen.
So we'd be happy to, either in my report or Mr. James' report, whenever there is any movement on the project, we'd be glad to just report out and let you know at a later time if the ad hoc committee makes sense to you.
Okay. So, do we pull this item, or we just?
No action, or?
No action?
No action.
No action, okay. Okay, we did that one, we moved that one, so that's 7, 8. Number 8, we get there. Number 8.
Number 8 is number,
One, two, the
no,
new.
number 8 is our number 9.
Yeah, the new one, the new 8. Veterans Park Memorial Council Monument Addition.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council, at the May 21st, 2019 meeting, there was a suggestion that a recognition monument be added to Veterans Park Memorial Site. The proposed monument lists the council members by name and title to acknowledge and preserve their support for the memorial project. Estimated cost of adding such a monument is roughly $2,000, perhaps less. The council's ad hoc public facilities committee, Councilmember Garcia and Prout, participated in the early meetings for this project. The November 6th, 2018 council meeting, Shafter Rotary and the American Veterans groups proposed leading the project, including the provision of financial, logistics, and volunteer resources. Council approved the proposal and instructed staff to work with Rotary and AMVETS to complete the project. Between November 18th and May 2019, last month, staff provided numerous updates to council, including interim monument and site designs. In the course of the monument committee meetings, the committee agreed the monument should not list individual names of veterans and change the design to remove the contributing organization names and logos from the primary monument to the more modest ground markers. It's appropriate now for the council to discuss the proposal and perhaps consider the input of the Veterans Memorial Committee, and at least one member of that committee is here tonight, if the council is interested in asking questions. And I'd be happy to answer any questions as well.
Sure. We'll open this up for anyone from the public that wish to share something. What's this?
Gary Nelson, 727 Acacia.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. It was an honor for AMVETS and for Shafter Rotary Club to be involved in getting this memorial in place at Veterans Park. I think we started this probably back when I was on the council many years ago, so it's been hanging out there for quite a while. And in being able to work with Michael James and Kevin Gibson in putting this project together, we did really actually started in January and finished in May, so it went very quickly. And some of the things that we wanted to make sure that we did was honor our veterans with memorial. So we didn't want anything on the memorial site or monument itself except to our veterans. So that's why we decided to do the pillar monument for those who contributed money or services to the monument. And that's where we left it at that point. We didn't think about the city council at that point, because you're part of the city of Shafter also. And so there's the city of Shafter and Rotary, which were the financial partners, and then we had 4 partners who put in services in order to get that monument in place. And I think we came in quite a bit under budget. I haven't seen the final numbers yet, but I've had a lot of positive comments about the monument from people, and so we're very proud of that, very proud of the city of Shafter for getting that done and having that at Veterans Park. And with that, if you have any questions, I would answer those, but that's my input at this point.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
No, I went, not to him, I went back and looked at that again, and I'd have to concur with Mr. Nelson here, because I don't think there's a need for us as council to put a monument out there. I think when you look at it, you just kind of get the simplicity, the idea that it's just veterans, and there's not really a need for any of us to have anything out there. So in my opinion, I would just let this die down and actually not sit there and put any monuments of any type out there. Leave it the way it is. The only monuments put in there is maybe names of local vets, people that we can put on there if anything, if they were doing some type of address to that. But even at that, I think we leave that up to the and vets. I say that correct. Keep thinking and vets.
Well, when you mentioned names, I thought the emphasis is really to do the memorials at the cemetery.
Yeah.
That's worked out very well. It's really well placed, and I know people that I've talked to have always said that they thought it was very, very special at the cemetery. And if you're not buried there, you still can put it up. It only costs $3, but you can still have the name added to it, which is really quite nice.
Well, I'll add something quick. I remember asking about this monument. I wasn't even on the council. I was actually part of the rec, and I asked about how come there's nothing to commemorate veterans in the city of Shafter. And the answer I got shocked me. And it said, "Well, you can go to the cemetery for that." And to me, I just didn't understand that thinking, that logic. That you guys want to go to the cemetery just to see something like that. And you can't even teach the kids. The little kids go there and look at it. And from the positive feedback that everybody's been giving me, they love that place. But yet at that time, they told me, "Oh no, go out there. Go to the cemetery, come on." So to me, this is more of a legacy thing than anything else. It's just a legacy thing. There's other groups right there that are already named. And it's not by name, but it's more of a legacy. You come right here, and as soon as you enter City Hall, there's a plaque right there as well. There's a plaque right there. It'd be the same thing with that memorial. That's just my opinion. I'm glad to see it. The people, everybody that's talked to me about it loves it. It's a great job by the public works.
My input on this, on the markers and the whole project itself is wonderful. It's great. It's one of a kind. The monument of the 5 branches, the flag poles, is all great. But I still feel as being part of the community, and that being the park itself being part of the community, I think, and I'm still for the fact that the city council should have a monument there with their names and their titles. That's my input, and that's gonna be my recommendation. And I would have liked to see more input from, I know it was brought before council several times, maybe 100 times.
No.
But I just, having Kathy on that committee when she's also a Rotary member as well.
I wasn't on the committee.
Well, according to this,
We only started it to see if there could be an introduction for it.
How about the facility committee?
And we haven't been, and it shouldn't have even been in the report.
Okay, so,
We said to take it to council.
okay, so I just didn't, in that hand, maybe council should have more input. I don't think-
We had opportunity, I mean, that's why we said, hey, take it to council.
I don't know, just, well, spent here a long time talking, debating it, but this is where I believe, this is my stance on this, that council should have a monument. And Council Member Gibbons, I brought the idea up, now he's going back on it, that's fine. But
Talk about putting our hands to the concrete like we were getting.
That, it was a
That's fine.
one-off comment when we
That's
were out
fine.
there, but it was in regards to.
But I still, that will be my vote, and that's gonna be my position, that we have a marker out there with the council name and title. So,
You know, I don't want to forget, I want to let Mike and like Kevin and Gary, and that was a really nice setting. It's beautiful. I went out there at night. I didn't get to go to that ceremony because my son was playing a baseball game. And, but it's really, it was really done really nice. And for me, you know, I've been like a coach and for so many years and was always like a quarterback and try to remember about team and people and, you know, respecting people's visions. And, you know, if the mayor feels like, you know, he thinks that this is something that he wants council to be a part of, you know, I would agree with him. However, I'd like to see the people that were on the other council when that park was established also put on there, because the other council members did establish that park. You know, and I think it was Gilbert, and I think it was Fran, and I think it was Kathy, and I think it was Gary and John Johnston. In other words, you know, I would like to see maybe all 8 or 10 of us if it's possible, but I would really like to, like I said, have Gilbert and maybe Kathy, the mayors, and then everyone else down below, or however you present it. But I think, I mean, that's a park that, you know, like, it's a great park. It's a few things forgot to get put on there, but I mean, like a baseball diamond and basketball courts and a few other things. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful park. So, I mean, it's something I'd be proud to have my name on, you know, as a council member. And something I helped, like, at least with the Veterans Park, you know. And when I was on that little meeting there that Kathy and I were on, and I knew Rotary was involved in it, and you, my friends, I think we met, and I kind of said, hey, go for it, as long as it establishes the veterans, something, you know, that's awesome. You know, I had a brother who fought in Vietnam, and I had 2 brother-in-laws that fought in Vietnam, so I love that whole idea out there. And at the end of the day, I know people say, hey, we have something for the veterans at the cemetery. And when we go to the cemetery, you know, 90% of us are pretty sad. You know, I mean, I've never even been at that deal because I don't want to, you know, I'm burying my mom, or burying my brother, or burying a good friend. So it's not like I want to see that and go out to the cemetery. You know what I mean? So I've always believed that our veterans should have, that died and sacrificed for us, should have flags kind of floating downtown on our poles, you know.
Yes.
So that's just, yeah, that's just my opinion on that. You know, I don't believe they should be out in the cemetery. But you know, some people do. But I would like to see them downtown, like Azusa, like Irvine, like Palo Alto, Sanger, beautiful, you know, cities like that. That's just me. I would like to, you know, like, I mean, see like a guy I know that fought. I would like to see. I'm going down to Subway, and I'd like to see that guy, Francisco Rodriguez, or John Smith, Vietnam War. You know, that's what I'd like to see. And I'd like to take my son and say, see that guy, he fought for our country, blah, blah, blah. But I've never have gone out to the cemetery and told my son, you see this wall, or you see this, you know, maybe I should have, but when I see them downtown in other cities, I like that feeling. But anyway.
The only other question I might have is, Caesar, your suggestion that we put veteran names down there
What?
at the memorial.
I never said that.
No, so that's not what we're talking about. The fact is to keep it just plain and simple for recognition of the veterans and not to add any other names. Because there were some people that I understand came forward and wanted their names at the memorial. And
Now, the only person I ever heard
I
from-
think that's why, Gary, wasn't that one of the reasons that we decided that there would be no names?
Well, and it's for past veterans, present
Yes,
veterans, and
it's just-
veterans in the future.
Right.
And if you miss somebody's name, then you're gonna take somebody off at some point in time.
Yeah.
And you already have all the names out at the cemetery, and they keep that up out there. So this was just a memorial where people could take their kids, or you could go by, or veterans could go by and sit there and read about the 5 branches of the service and what they mean. So that's the whole
I
intent.
think there are other places that we can certainly put our names on that and maybe like you say, if you want to go put it in this park, go put it in the park, but I wouldn't do anything.
okay, so I'll make a motion that we make a marker with the city current board member's name on there,
Where?
on the Veterans Park,
At Veterans Park?
Yeah.
But not the memorial?
at the memorial site, just where the rest of the markers are at, on that site.
No, I just.
Okay, that's fine. So, there's a first and a second.
Do a third?
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
You did the motion.
Yeah.
You said-
Motion by Mayor Alvarado, second by Mayor Pro Tem Lopez. To make a marker with the council member's name and title at the Veterans Park Memorial Site.
In the planner along
Yes,
with the
just
other
like all the other
sponsors.
ones, as a sponsor.
Okay,
Okay, staff has direction?
yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Givens? Lopez?
Yes.
Garcia?
Yes.
Ralph?
No.
And Alvarado?
Yes. Okay, we're moving on to number 9. That's gonna be the Veterans Park Spray Pad Hours.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council, currently the Veterans Spray Park Pad is open Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 6, and the days of extreme heat between Memorial Day and Labor Day. The city has adopted the County of Kern's criteria or definition of extreme heat, where they declare an extreme heat day, they open cooling centers and whatnot. That's usually provided the night before those forecast temperatures, and that's currently approximately 105 degrees used for activating those cooling centers. The city's current spray pad schedule was derived and approved last summer. It has been actually open a little longer than that. If you recall, it was open right in the teeth of the worst part of the drought, and we had even more restricted use in the first year or so. There's been some public input about having the spray pad open different hours, additional hours, and different additional days. Some have also suggested modifying the definition of extreme heat. Current schedule is limited, but the city has sought to balance the responsibility to provide water for essentials and conserve water. With the recent rains, the city still asks all residents to continue to conserve water, and it's the city's responsibility to do the same. The spray pad water usage table is included for analysis of the current use in comparison to other potential schedules. There really is a minor direct cost. You can see that also compared in the table on the back, and I'll note a couple of items here from that table. So if you can see in the leftmost column, we have our current schedule, noon to 6 Saturday and Sunday, 105-degree days. Did a quick survey of high temperature days over the course of our summer, and that results in the use of approximately 68,000 gallons per week. Nominal cost, the cost for running the season that way is about $776. That's the equivalent of 11 single-family homes. We use a number of gallons of 850 gallons per day per single-family home. One option, and we're by no means limited to these two options, so this is for discussion only. Option 1 might be noon to 6 Saturday and Sunday, and simply redefine the definition of extreme heat, take it down to 100 degrees. That would result in an average use per week of 109,000 gallons, equivalent of 18 single-family homes, and an annual cost of around $1,200, a little over $1,200. Option 2 would be noon to 7, extended hours, and run it every day, 7 days a week from Memorial Day through Labor Day. That's most years, that's 99 days. That would result in 223,000 gallons per week, 38 equivalent single-family homes, and a cost per season to the Parks Fund actually at $2,500. So budget cost is not a significant consideration here. It's really more about the appropriate use of water, practical use of water, and trying to match the hours of operation to the city citizens' needs. We've received about an equal number of comments via social media asking for earlier hours instead of starting at noon, start earlier, and then we've we've had some that have recommended stay open later. We had a couple of comments, leaving open until 8. The problem is at the beginning of the season and the end of the season, we'll encounter sundown within the 8 o'clock hour. 7 o'clock is light, clear from both ends of that, so we would be able to stay consistent. If we try to shut it at sundown, we may have some issues because we have to install a special clock that worked off of light rather than the timer that we're using now. So that could be done. I'm not sure about working with the manufacturer. We didn't have time to collect costs on such a system like that. So be happy to answer any questions.
Just curious, how many, do you guys know just offhand or guess, how many 105-degree plus days do we have here?
Yeah, I estimated, just from a quick survey, approximately, what did I have, 15 times, so 3 times 14, so 20, maybe 20 days a summer at the most.
Last year was heavy.
Yeah, it was a little higher some years, some, we barely get over. Now, 100-degree days was almost twice, so that doubled the number of days that it would be activated. So that's another 28 days a year.
My personal opinion, I like option 2. That's just my personal opinion.
It doesn't matter for the cost, doesn't matter for the use of water.
$1,000 for our families to have fun?
The amount of water.
It's $2,500, right?
No, it's
I
not
mean,
the
the
cost,
most,
it's
right.
Yeah, the cost in dollars really isn't a consideration.
Yeah.
The park fund can
Sure.
easily absorb that. It's really the
Water.
water
Okay,
use.
is it recyclable water? No.
No, we chose, there are issues with the systems that use recycled water. Many have been built on a place where there was a former pool, and so maybe there's equipment available. You have to do full swimming pool type of treatment and filtering if you have a reusable water system.
Yeah.
And so ours goes to the recharge sump. So maybe some of the water does eventually make it back to the
Yeah.
water table, but most is going to evaporate.
You know, I go to Oildale every now and then because I have property over there, and I see more water. There's tons of water going underneath those overpasses by going up by Bakersfield College, sort of tons of it now. So at this particular time, I think we have a lot of water. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not for conserving water. I mean, I hate it when my neighbors or people just leave the water hose on and it just goes without a nozzle. So, I'd like to see a time like from noon to 7, like the one you mentioned, because it's nice to know when things are open. And now but for whatever reason, if it's showering that weird day, I don't know if we have the manpower to just not turn it on because, you know what I mean? Like it's raining, for example, like you see some crazy people, it's raining, they still have their sprinklers on. And you look at them like you wonder what they're doing. I don't like that. So I'm conservative about water, but at this time, I think we should just let the kids have a little bit of fun. I mean, I go by Bakersfield parks and stuff, I see them on, I see all the kids having fun. But here, I'm not a kid, but I go out there and I don't see when they're on, but I've heard that we have a button as well. Is that right?
That's how it's activated. So
Okay.
the system is active during these times and days and hours,
Yeah.
and the users of the spray pad actually operate.
Yeah, so we're saving water and it's not wasted anyway, right? Like water's not just going on and no kids are out there.
Correct.
So we're saving water. So, I mean, my opinion is the $2,500 is fine. I mean, we built it for the kids to have fun and get cooled off, It's like, why build a house if you can't afford it, right? So we built it, let them use it. That's just my opinion.
Anything else?
When the drop days come back,
Well, then we readjust, but it's like the normal day, just like,
My,
you just adjust.
I like number 1, only because it does open it up to the days.
Can I ask you a question?
yes.
It does open it up.
Help me, weird question, help me understand what's the logic between 1 and 2?
So-
So here's the reason I asked, because I believe in Kern County, 100+ degree days is like every day in summer. And so I'm kind of curious on what the breakdown is between the two. I think 2018, I just really quickly searched out, it's like 50+ days. 2018, Cook County was 100+.
So the way this was calculated was taking those, best I could, as an average over a few years. Subtracted out the Saturday and Sunday, it's on anyway. You got 5 days left. What was the approximate percentage of the days across from Memorial Day through Labor Day, the remaining 5 days, and came up with 2 or 3, whatever the number comes out to be here. So that's the way that it works. This is not an in-depth scientific analysis. This was grabbing the data from a couple of different websites on average temperatures here in Cook County. So
I mean, I would assume, this is my assumption, even if you went with option one, option one's still gonna run at least 6 days a week, just by the way we go with things. You know
well,
what I mean?
yes.
Yeah.
So that would be an additional 4 days a week. So it sounds like what I'm hearing is maybe a modified option one, where we go ahead and extend the hours to 7 o'clock p.m., but lower the definition of extreme heat down to 100 degrees.
You're still gonna be on every day.
So let me ask, Scott, I'm sorry, Chad, were you asking us a question?
No, I'm saying 100 degrees.
So if it's 98 degrees and a kid goes out there and pushes that button, nothing's coming out?
Right.
No, that 98 is hot. I mean, you know.
It doesn't have to be 100. We can pick whatever number. If you want it to be 98, you just need to
Yeah.
discuss it and let me know what you think
Yeah.
is a good place to
How
start.
about 85? I mean,
So, okay.
how about 85?
Okay, hold on, okay,
Jeez.
this,
I get in my swimming pool when it's 85 to get, you know.
okay, all right, so we only have 2 options, right?
No,
So you
no,
recommend-
you have an infinite number of options.
All right, so what do you want from us? Just direction as far as what,
Yes.
wait?
Well, temperature,
Okay.
and how many days?
Yeah, I thought I heard extend the hours and take it from 6 to 7. And I thought I heard that the definition of extreme heat might be too high. So the 2 decisions would be, is noon to 7 appropriate? And is the extreme heat definition 100 degrees, 99 degrees, 98 degrees? We can set it to whatever number makes sense.
I experienced this, I took my grandkids,
Uh-huh.
and we got there about, must've been after 6, about 6:30. And I saw the paddle was wet, but it was already off. It was still daylight, and then I went another time, because I saw the webpage saying that it was open till 6. So I went out there at 5, stayed there till 6, and it was still hot. And kids were still coming to families were coming at 6 o'clock, but it was already turned off. So, in a
Because it's on a
sense,
timer.
right, but I mean, it turns off at 6, right?
Right.
Okay, so they came minutes after 6, so they're not gonna be able to use that spring pad. That's what I'm trying to get, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
the question before
Right,
you
so,
now.
but I'm experiencing something that is gonna, I'm trying to make my decision is I experienced this, families were coming at 6. Anytime sooner, like 1 o'clock, the concrete is hot. There's not that much shade. There is that awning or two, where the picnic awning, there's one tree, you know, there's that, there's something right there that creates shade.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of shade at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Cement is hot. Thought would be but knowing that we can't make it to 8 o'clock, maybe to 7, from 3 to 7, that gives you 5 hours. That's what most of the time, I think, most of the time. Now, I don't know about the shop recreation with the pool, the swimming pool, what's their hours there? If that's open during the day, perhaps you could go there. I don't know, because I know there's a lot of activity goes on there, there's a time when public can't use it. Maybe this could be an option, join 2 places other than Central, right there downtown, get wet there again.
Sure.
But,
So I think one of the great things about the spray pad is it's somewhat self-regulating. If it's uncomfortable out there, people won't go during those hours. Having
Right.
it on won't waste any water because no one will be there using it. If it's too cool, they won't go and
Right.
use it, and so we won't be wasting water.
Right.
So there's,
And if it's too hot, over 105, no one's gonna go anyway.
well, it, depends. If it's playing the hose or go over there, I suppose, the folks in the neighborhood. But so, I wouldn't be too concerned about the actual number of hours that it's open. I think, noon to 6, noon to 7, it's gonna be a nominal amount of extra water. The cost is insignificant. So, if the council agrees that opening at noon is too soon, we can always do that. I think that was chosen as the middle of the day. It's not necessarily the hottest part of the day, but it is middle of the day. If it's gonna be a hot day, it's hot by noon. So,
Do we have the hours for the pool?
I do not have those off the top of my head. I think they've changed
Well, we do
from time
lessons
to time.
first.
And they have lessons, and I don't have
I
that.
think it's 11 to 5 or something.
Okay. I think I would, if we could, I would make a motion to go noon to 7, 100 plus degrees. And because you're-
Saturday or?
Yeah, 7 days. Because you're going to experience 100 plus degrees probably every single day. And then the days, so far lately, the days we haven't experienced 100 degrees, it's been on the weekend. It's
Yeah.
still open. So-
And then what if you get that kid that wants to go out there at 95 degrees or 90? He's
Well,
he's
they'll
screwed?
Come back.
Well, wife doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah,
kids.
you put it somewhere. So I think 100 would be good.
Yep.
Starter.
Well, next time, don't build a spray park then. I mean, if you're gonna get the limitations, just don't build it. I mean,
Okay,
what for? I mean, it's gotta be 100.
I'll make the motion then, I'll make the motion that we operate the spray park from noon to 7, and also anytime it's 100 degrees.
Second.
Okay, so this is, that has to do with like 7 days a week.
7 days. Yeah, no, it's still 7 days.
It's, it's weekends for sure, regardless of temperature. Noon to 7, Saturday and Sunday, plus those same hours, any day that it's forecast to be 100 or not.
So next year, if it doesn't work out, next year we'll
And
change.
we don't have to let it go a whole year. If it's not working, we can change it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry, may I say something?
Yes, go ahead. Come on up. This is your city.
I'm sorry, I gave my name to most of us, so.
My question is, I have been to that park with my son, and I always thought, and I told my son that all that water was being recycled, because his own comment was, Mom, why is the city wasting this water at one time? It was a couple years ago, and I always told him, I go, this water is being recycled, it's not being wasted, so I always thought that. Why wouldn't a system of recycling that same water be, applied to that park?
Well, a couple of reasons. One is that the cost of the equipment to recycle the water is tens of thousands of dollars to install the first time, and many thousands of dollars to operate, even if it worked without breaking down over the course of the year. So it probably quintuples the cost of operating the park. There's going to be a certain amount of evaporation and whatnot anyway, but it would save some amount of water. We also have a design that we haven't implemented yet that will use perforated pipe to allow that water on its way to the sump, which acts as a recharge basin, but allow that to be leached into the ground and help some of the areas of the park immediately around the spray pad. So it really was a cost consideration at the time the park, the pad was designed and built. At the time, if we back up and we talk about the origin of the park itself, it was part of a package of grant funding that was used to establish the park, do the improvements, the grass, the grading, the restrooms and so forth. And to answer Councilmember Garcia's comment, the drought restrictions were so severe at that point in time that we had actually chosen to defer building of the spray pad. Funding authority that gave us the money for the park threatened to not only take away the funding, but also claw back the money that we had used to develop the park if we did not build and operate that spray pad. So our hand was forced, we built the pad, we operated it on these restricted, even more restricted schedule than we have today, just to comply with this grant funding authority and not run afoul of those rules. The reuse of the water is definitely something that was considered. As I said, there have been some designs worked on here at City Hall to see if we can figure out how to use that water, at least to water some of the park plants along the way to the recharger.
We haven't given up on the recycling option, but in our selection process for the appropriate design and type of technology, we spent a considerable amount of time talking to City of Bakersfield officials who have experience operating numerous spray parks in their jurisdiction, and they were adamant that this was not something we wanted to entertain, because the cost of building it and maintaining it and troubleshooting was way more severe than they would advise you to tackle. So we considered that, and we ultimately built a spray park that gave the community some benefit of, a park and amenity, but we tried to balance that with reasonable water use, rather than trying to utilize the recycling technology. But as the city manager stated, we haven't given up on that. But the schedule will change, the operation will change, maybe the technology will change to where we could accommodate that. But initially, the feedback we got steered us away from using recycling.
Yeah, because I would think that with regard to Mrs. Powell's comment, what if we're in a drought again and we get down to that level where it's dangerous? I mean, wouldn't we want to have a recycling system in all our waters? I mean, even in our city. I would drive down Lerdo going towards the freeway, and I would see that Lerdo area between, I believe, right crossing the railroad tracks. That road would be flooded. All that water was wasted every night. There should be some kind of recycling system.
And as you may have noticed, that those planters have been completely redesigned.
Yeah, I've
We're
noticed.
systematically working through those to eliminate that situation.
Right.
And just at the end of the day, when the kid is using that, it's never wasted.
Right.
And then when there is a drought, you shut everything off.
Mhm.
That's just common sense.
Right.
But like I said, there's no drought right now.
Well, there is droughts.
There's an extreme.
Well, every time I went camping this year, I got a nice shower because the state parks, they're not on droughts. But when I went prior years, we didn't have that access.
Okay.
So I don't think there's a drought. That's just my opinion. And I tried to read the paper as much as I can. But some people think there's a drought, there's a drought. I don't think so.
So we'll get a motion, motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
There's a motion by Councilmember Prout and a second by Councilmember.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Prout and a second by Councilmember Gibbons.
Councilmember Gibbons? Lopez?
Yes.
Garcia?
No.
Ralph?
Yes.
And Alvarado?
So we just want to make sure there's a lot of conversation, just, from noon to 7,
This
on
is
weekends
noon to
open.
7 Saturday and Sunday, noon to 7 on days 100 degrees or more.
Okay, yes,
From Memorial to Labor.
okay,
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
okay. Number 10, city charter study session.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council, Mayor Alvarado has requested the staff to schedule a workshop to review and understand the city charter, including the role and responsibilities of the council and city manager. This exercise will be led by the city attorney. There's also a request to have a third-party attorney participate in the study session. A list of attorneys qualified in this specialty has been provided by Marco Martinez of the city attorney's office. Cost of preparation, travel, and study session with the council is estimated between $6,000 and $8,000 total. This project was not included in the 19-20 annual operating budget, which was just approved later this evening. The estimated cost is $6,000 to $8,000. The approval of that would require a budget amendment appropriating $8,000 to the city council actual budget to fully fund this work. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from council?
So wanting to have, what's the purpose of the third party attorney? Do we have-
Okay, from what I gathered, we have a charter, and they've given us a charter, each one of us have a copy of the charter, so they want us to read it and to understand it. And now that we're gonna have a session about understanding the charter, we have to have a specialist. that's a attorney that specializes in the charter. When you're giving me a charter to begin with, to understand who's not an attorney, so now just go over the charter, we have to have a specialist as a third-party attorney. So, that's where, now at this point, because the conversation was brought up, recommendation is to get a third-party attorney, that I selected the third-party attorney from the League of Cities. That's familiar with the government or city law.
Okay, we have been provided with that list, and so there were
There was three, and one of them was B&K.
one of those is Stephen Deitch, who's our one of our current B&K city attorneys, and then there were two others, and there were some pretty good recommendations or referrals on one of them, the experience anyway, working with that particular individual. So, as it stands, I guess what we're looking for is for the council to discuss and then provide direction to staff on scheduling such a meeting, a study session, and approve the appropriate budget action.
Okay, so I'm changing that. We're not, my recommendation is not to select from the three that was given, which one was B&K. That I, the mayor, find a third-party attorney from the League of Cities, because, and that's familiar with the general law, or the law that the government law that we're currently.
Not on the list?
That's municipal law, no, thank you. Municipal law, that's on the list of League of Cities. Because a municipal law attorney should be able to understand that charter. If you expect me to understand it, who's not an attorney, and a general law attorney should be able to understand it.
So, I think it may even be more specialized than that. The list that was provided, the three attorneys that were on this, are not just municipal attorneys, but they're actually municipal attorneys that have specialized experience with charters, which are not universal.
Okay.
And so we were even more specialized in that. And I think that's what's being proposed,
Yeah.
is
So,
to
I just-
allow the.
Okay, I'm denying that list. I'm not going to select that list.
Could we ask an opinion from, or ask some comments from the attorney that's here? Because
Sure.
he's representing our city attorney, and the city charter was organized way back when,
Sure.
and then voted on by the public. That
Absolutely.
was put together with an attorney involved. I don't understand a third party, why we can't have a person that's already familiar with charter, that's already within our group.
So I can explain how that list came to be. In 2016 and 2017, the League of California Cities put together a panel of municipal attorneys that have particular expertise in representing charter cities and in handling issues regarding charter city reform measures. The panel consisted of some 9 attorneys. Most of those were in-house city attorneys that are working for larger cities, because obviously larger cities are typically the ones that have charters. However, there was a few attorneys that worked for private law firms. The list that I gave you are 3 of those attorneys that work for private law firms that are all municipal attorneys that have specific expertise in the representation of charter cities. One of those happens to be my partner, Steve Deitch. The other 2 are also municipal attorneys representing cities, one in Southern California, the other one I think is here in Atascadero.
So why can't a municipal attorney understand the charter?
Well,
When you want me to understand it,
Yeah.
well, I'm not an attorney. When you give me that charter to read it.
I'll just give you the practical difference. I'm not an expert in charter city reviews like Steve Deitch is, but you give me 15 hours and I can become an expert. So in essence, that's what you're paying. You would be paying a general municipal attorney to get up to speed, not only on your charter, but on charter city issues. I think the presumption is that if you pick somebody from that list, they would have to get up to speed, obviously, with your charter, but at least they already know a lot of the background issues of other cities
But
and
we're
how to
just,
reform the
but
charter.
we're just discussing our charter, which is like a 10-page, I don't have the charter in front of me, I think it's like 10-page, 9-page charter, so it's not complicated, it's not a
True.
line, it's not a,
True.
a thick book that has 1,000 pages. So it only has like 9 pages. So for an attorney that who studies municipal law and practices municipal law, should be able to understand that charter.
I would agree.
So we don't need to say we need a specialist. I mean, because then if you get to a specialist, if you're requesting a specialist to help translate or help me to understand or someone to understand, how am I going to understand something who's not an attorney? When you just need the charter to understand.
I agree, but it's the same concept. There's understanding the city of Shafter charter and understanding what needs to be done under California law to amend the charter. And so the folks on this list presumably already know how to do all that stuff because they've been through